r/askreddit. Parents of Reddit, what are your kids currently attempting to hide from you? My 6-year-old got out of bed early on Sunday morning to sneak downstairs and steal Monopoly money from the bank and the unfinished game from the night before, which was left out on the table. Edit. When he becomes a teenager and starts acting like his generation invented the internet and everything and that old people are stupid, I'll show him this thread. Politician in the making. Crafty fecker. The only real way to win that game. My kid is 5. She sneaks food under her blanket, wrapped snacks, for later and is always amazed when I find them. Edit. Thanks for the concern, guys, but as it's happened 3 times in a 12-month span, I'm certain that she does not have an eating disorder. She is also not overweight. Kids will be kids. Our kids are effing stupid. The Pez dispensers in his nightstand. He eats them in secret pretty sparingly, so I'll let it go. He's 6. Edit. He never eats them at bedtime and has a pretty strict teeth brushing schedule, so I'm not overly concerned about cavities. A 6-year-old with self-control and willpower is pretty impressive. My 3-year-old nephew opens a packet of Lay's and eats 2 chips and then eats 2 more next day and so on. I will never have that kind of self-control. My kid would get up in the middle of the night and want a snack. He would sneak into the kitchen and eat a whole tomato except the little circle where it connected to the stem. He hid the little stem circles under whatever was on top of the trash and would go to sleep. We always made sure there were tomatoes for him. I did that with pickles. I'd sneak in the kitchen and just eat my weight in pickles. My daughter, who's 9, thinks she's being crafty hiding a book under her pillow to read after bedtime. I've known for about a year and let her have half an hour secret reading time after she goes to bed. Bit harder to know if she's not reading after half an hour. Now it's summer and she doesn't need to use a lamp, but I can tell if she's turned her lamp off in winter. That's the kind of kid I want to have. They can hide reading books for as long as they want to. Edit. So this is my big karma comment. I have to say I love the fact that it is such a positive one. On a negative note, anyone else that mentions Mein Kampf or something similar is getting downvoted. First time is clever, well, sort of. 10th time is boring and unimaginative and shows you are a bit lazy for not reading others' replies. I was that kid. I started sleeping with my door cracked so I could read in that sliver of light. Or I used my Game Boy backlight. Our son, 9, is taking his marbles to school and screwing other kids out of their marbles. He's got a real hustle going on there. He's not allowed to take any toys to school, hence why he's hiding it. I checked his school backpack and found probably a kilogram worth of marbles in there. We are having a talk this afternoon. Will the talk involve increase your profit margins, choose your clientele, become exclusive, do less work but for higher returns? Because it definitely should. No kid should have to lug a kilo of marbles about himself. It's nearly bedtime. 2-year-old thinks I'll forget to put him to bed if he runs into another room for 30 seconds. If he was a bit older, I'd say he was playing Skyrim and thought the stealth system in that game is realistic. When my son was 5, he stashed a bunch of blueberries under his pillow for later. Problem is, not only did they get squished night 1, but he forgot about them until we changed his sheets a few days later. Ugh. Death. We had a foster kid that hid about 2 handfuls of spaghetti with sauce under his pillow. Found it the next day while he was at school. Got it cleaned up. Never told him we found it. Made sure to have spaghetti twice a week thereafter. My 4-year-old son just asked me how many coins I had on my desk. I said I didn't know. He said he counted 6. Reversed psychology here, everyone. I don't get this comment. I've read it about 10 times now. What is this? He has a crush on the babysitter and tries to draw hearts to give to her. He also proposed. He is 6. We went on a trip this summer that involved a plane ride. My son looked at me and said, "Mom, do you think the waitress, flight attendant, is pretty?" I said, "Yes, she is pretty. Why do you think she is pretty?" He giggled and said, "Yes, I think she is pretty. Don't tell though." He's 6. Absolute legend. Conversation with daughter. "Okay, so while I was changing your sister, did you finish dinner?" "Yes, daddy." "All of it?" "Yes." So if I look in the garbage can I'm not going to find any of your dinner in there? Silence. Edit 1. Gonna update this so y'all stop calling me a prick. I am not force overfeeding my kid. I am making sure she actually gets some nutritious food in reasonable portions. When said child is asking for snacks, weed, sugary shit, right after not eating a meal, that means she's not full. When she's not eating a meal simply because it has a color she doesn't like or something she has liked before but presented slightly differently, yeah sorry but she's gonna have to eat that. And no, I didn't steal this from a fucking YouTube video. Do you think that there's only one parent that has had kids try to pull a fast one with dinner? Edit 2. Thank ye whomever gave the gold. I assume you are also a parent and not one of these others who are griping so much while never having experienced what a chore it is to keep a kid to eat semi-healthily. I flushed food I didn't like down the toilet. I never had to finish my meals because my father was forced to when he was a child, and it was so horrible he didn't want my sister and me to experience that. My 16-year-old had a box of condoms with a price sticker from the dollar store in his backpack. He left it on my passenger seat and they fell out while I was shifting it to the back seat. I went and bought him a better brand and replaced them. We have never discussed it. Edit. Thank you all so much for the great feedback. Parenting is no easy task lol. To clarify, we have discussed sex. I only meant that we've never discussed the actual switching of the condom boxes. I had my 17-year-old cousin move in with me for a bit after her parents separated. Things were icy at home and she got cheap rent and board as long as she watched my kids a few times a month so I and my wife could have a date night. One of the first things I did was buy some condoms and put them in a drawer in the bathroom that was across the hall from her room. I told her that I will be happy to keep the drawer stocked up if it runs low, and I would not be angry if I have to buy them, but I'll be really pissed if I find she is having sex and not using them. Joke's on me anyway. 2 weeks later I met her girlfriend. 10/10 you should parent again. To all the teenagers on here, your parents know more than you think and are also more ignorant than you think. The trick is, you won't know in which areas until they tell you, usually years later. I dropped some classes a few years ago and would still pretend to go, just sort of hanging around town to keep my parents thinking I was enrolled. On one skip day, I was window shopping in my hometown when I see my dad walking towards me from down the street. I thought the jig was up so I kept walking towards him, and he passes me by before I can even say anything. Deadass just doesn't me even though I'm within arm's length. I thought he wanted to pretend it didn't happen or something, but when I told him I saw him on the street later that night he asked why I didn't say hello. I have a suspicion that my parents know that I beat my ding dong in the bathroom. My 2.5-year-old daughter hides every time she poops. She starts by asking am I wearing a diaper, then she loudly announces that she's going to hide over there. If I ask her if she's pooping, she screams at me, don't say those words. I'm just hiding. Edit. Holy RIP inbox and OMFG I've been gilded. I'm glad my child's hilarity and secrecy of pooping could move you so much. Doesn't that mean it's time to start potty training? Everybody's kids here are hiding books to read secretly. Mine's hiding in his bedroom trying to use a glue stick like lip balm. Keep an eye on that. The regular weirdos ate crayons and turned out okay. The kids eating paste were the delinquents. My kid Noah, 15, is trying to hide the fact that he's found a girlfriend. He thinks he's really smart by just saying he's going out to get food every now and then, but it's so easy to tell that he's going to see someone. Also his girlfriend snitched on him. She told us that she liked him. My GF's roommate worked for my mother. Very small business and just a summer job at like 15. Secret didn't last. My 6-year-old is gobsmacked that I know about the rolling around on the floor instead of schoolwork. No idea the teacher can reach me anytime. About the rolling around on the floor. Your kid is a yellow lab. My 4-year-old son is currently trying to hide that he pees his bed. His dad questioned him the other morning asking if he did and he said no. Even though we were holding his wet pants. When we asked whose pants they were he said mommy's. We asked again if he peed his bed and he said no, mommy did it. Little bastard. Well mommy, why are you pissing on his bed? That they are not tired, despite the usual crying and making you feel terrible until they shut their eyes and 30 seconds later are asleep. Parenting's a fucking whirlwind of emotions. Man, I'm going through a sleep regression with my almost 3-year-old now. This right here. I put him to bed. We do our routine. No sooner than I shut the door I hear the crocodile tears, yelling he needs a drink of water, which I left on the nightstand next to him, and gave him a sip before I left. I tell him this. Do you want to come have a drink with me, daddy? I tell him he's a big kid and he can do it. He goes and does it. Comes back to the door. Do you want to give me a hug, daddy? This is where he know he's got me and I've got to be strong. I can't say no. I don't want to give you a hug, but at the same time, I know that if I go in there I'm fostering his procrastination, and tell him I gave him a hug before we went to bed and I'll give him another when I get home from work. Say goodnight, daddy, when I go to bed, okay kiddo? I'll say goodnight once you get into bed. Repeat again 3 minutes later for an hour before he starts saying he needs to use the potty. Like, no shit, you've downed that entire bottle of water. Not a parent but my younger brother, he's 14, has a school business where he rents out school uniforms. He made like $300 in the last semester. Who is renting all these school uniforms? Is this a thing people do in high school or for costume parties? Honestly don't know which one is weirder. My 22-year-old son starts work at 6 AM. He left the house at 6:30 and came back 30 minutes later. I think he got fired. Ooh. That's painful. Mine doesn't try to hide anything. He's a year and a half old. He just grabs things he isn't supposed to and runs away yelling, run 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 run. Edit. Thank you for the silver, whoever gifted it. And especially thank you to everyone sharing their own toddler stories. I'll be smiling all day thanks to these replies. That's cute. My 1.5-yo knocks stuff over on purpose and says my almost 2-yo has started telling me crazy stories as if they are real. He recently told me that our dog rides a motorcycle to go play with her friends. I hope you play along with it. Fortunately my teenager, 16, going on 17, doesn't try to hide much from me. She's a terrible liar and gets busted right away every time, so she just casually admits stuff these days. It's pretty great. However, she's been sneaking her boyfriend over to the house during the day while I'm at work and thinks I'm clueless. Girl, I know you eat a lot, but there's no way you're going through half a loaf of bread by yourself in one day. You also left his glass of water on the coffee table. IDK man. I feel like I could eat half a loaf of bread by myself. I pretend to be a bad liar to my parents so they wouldn't suspect when I'm actually lying. Girlfriend's kids, 20 and 17, like to go work on the car together in the detached garage. Late at night. Yeah, pretty sure they're smoking weed. She likes to make them awkward by asking what they're up to. We see the 3-foot bong, you guys. That first half had me worried as hell. I'm glad it's just weed. As a kid my friends and I would actually just go work on the car late at night. We were all pretty big into the Euro-tuna scene. We would go smoke weed after the car was done though. His weed. He thinks I believe he's so innocent, but he doesn't realize that I've been dipping into his stash occasionally when I run dry. I consider it the parental tax for not telling his mother. Mom, you'll never guess what I was hiding from you 20 years ago. I hold my weed. The mother of my cousin thinks he smokes weed because one day he came back home with red eyes. He told me it was just pollen because he is allergic, hahaha. For the record, he is the most innocent kid I know. He is 14 and he is very pure. He would probably be scared to see a blunt, haha. When I was 17-18 and started wearing contacts my eyes were red. Always got confronted about smoking weed. Never mind the fact that I was never a second out of their presence. Nope, must have smoked it on the school bus on the way home from school. The mother of my cousin. Your aunt? Edit. Christ guys, it was a joke. Weed. Spending money on fast food. Lol, I don't hide spending money on fast food from my mom. Intelligence. I don't know where they are hiding it, and I can't find it. My parents can relate. Where her dad's watches. I know where she hides it. And I've seen her wear it pretending to be him. It's so cute. I won't tell my husband though. The negative things her dad says about me. She's only 5. Divorce sucks, but FFS, keep your feelings about me to yourself. My dad is the same. He's the one who had an affair and fucked off in the middle of the night, leaving my mom with 3 kids, 1 newborn. I was 6, but he's constantly bad-mouthing her. It's fucking pathetic. Almost every poop she does in her nappy. We are potty training. It's not going great. My 12M son went on a double date. My husband happened to be driving through town and saw the 4 of them together. I asked him and he said they happened to be going to the same place. The mother of the other boy had the scoop and filled me in. I let my son know that he shouldn't lie to me and it is perfectly fine for him to be going on a double date. He apparently paid for the fries. I offered to drive him and the others somewhere if they wanted to go again. If he's 12, he probably didn't tell you because he knew you would offer to drive. My mom was the coolest, but I still didn't want her to embarrass me around girls. My effing dishes plates. They sneak food up to their rooms so they can game and digest at the same time but forget to bring the dishes downstairs. When I get in a hissy fit because I have to make my sandwich on a Tupperware lid, they swear they have not used any plate, but when I enter my kitchen later, a wonky tower of china looms in my sink for me to Jenga wash. Make them wash that shit. Or buy your own plates just for you, and eventually they will have to learn to wash them because they are out of their own plates. My oldest son has started smoking weed. What he doesn't know is daddy knows where the stash is and will continue to take some for myself. I'll continue to take more and more until it becomes painfully obvious and he gets the courage to bring it up to me. Username checks out. I'm interested to know what my parents know I'm hiding from them. Here's an upvote. My son is 8 and he is masturbating to Pokemon hentai. Edit. OMG guys. Thank you for 1k. Edit 2. Wow 2k. Guys, you are crazy. Edit 3. Guys. Silver. Really? You are sick, but I love you. Edit 4. Second silver. Row. Just freaking wow. Edit 5. Golend. Golden. A man of culture. Edit. I feel the need to say thank you because the guy who made this comment possible did. I hope my parents are proud of my most upvoted comment being about me approving of an 8-year-old's choice in porn. My 6-year-old son poops in the backyard every morning and blames it on the dog. I'm the kid and I'm hiding Reddit to them. Not a parent per se, but I have a 11-year-old brother I've practically raised. My mother left for drugs and my dad working as much as he could to support both of us and my 2 half-brothers. My dad got him a phone recently. One night he came to me and said, I think my phone has a problem. I look at his phone, one of those fake pop-up ads that are like you have a phone virus. Tap her to get rid of it. Anyways, I told him it was fake and websites do this to fuck with you and give you an actual virus. Anyway, I look at his history to see what he looked up to stumble upon that. My master has a BBC and ASMR porn. Never said anything about it. Handed the phone back and went on about my business and him about his. This happened to my cousin. I'm not a parent. My cousin tried to hide her watching porn from her mother by using my device. Let's just say it didn't turn out so well. If roles were reversed here. When I was like 15 I came out as lesbian. No one knew and my mother was shocked. She walked in on me and one of my friends one time and I spun a story about going skinny dipping. She knew we were having sex. 100% she knew. Looked through my 12-year-old son's iPod internet history. He searched for boobs, world's biggest boobs, and sex in bed. I deleted it and have been pretending like I don't know. I thought of another one. A few months ago after one of his long poops, I went into the bathroom after him and saw Cosmo on the floor next to the toilet. I hadn't recalled ever seeing this one. I asked him why he was reading it, and he said because he was bored. I noticed on the cover was something like, Best Sex Positions PG 178. I didn't want to, but I turned to page 178. The pages were stuck together. I threw it away, washed my hands, and never spoke of it again. Their sexual relationship. I know you and your stepsister are fucking Mark. The whole family knows. Why my 12-year-old ghosted the girl next door. Not GFBF shit but stupid preteen awkward bullshit. My 13-year-old daughter keeps her electric toothbrush in the shower with the gum massage head attached. She thinks I'm really dumb. He humps pillows while naked.